Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Pinnacle Insiders. Along with my co-host, Blue Tippington, and our producer, Wayne Goldstein, I'm Wink Rothberg.
This week's Pinnacle Insider brought to you by Simply Fresh Produce.
Blue, playoff time.
Playoffs, baby.
This is what everybody lives for. This is where these 6 teams get to prove why they joined the league. Where you separate the men from the boys. Where one team comes out victorious. Where the inches that we live by separate you from living and dying. From winning and losing. These are the playoffs. How do you see this whole thing coming out? What do you like? Who's hot coming into the playoffs?
Well, you got 3 teams here that I think are really hot. Some teams aren't because some teams may have limped in. There's a couple injuries out there. But I see 3 teams. One in the Spielman Conference. I like Josh. I think he's coming in hot. And then I like the 2 teams that play each other in the first round. I like Montana and Dale's team.
I once again reside with you on the affirmative. I think Montana's coming in extra hot. We're going to get to the loss of Matt Forte a little bit later, but I think his team might be able to rebound from that. He's scoring a lot of points every week. He's a tough team to beat right now. On the other side of things, I think everyone's sort of limping in. Josh is hot, but he's lost 3 out of 4 games. Mitchell, same thing, 3 out of 4. Cito, 3 out of 4. Everybody's sort of limping in on the Spielman Conference. Having said that, it's the playoffs. It's a whole new season. You never know what's going to happen. Who do you think is the favorite right now as we sit here today?
It's tough to pick a favorite in the playoffs because, like you said, everybody's hot now, and anything can happen in a fantasy playoff. It only takes one player to go off and have a game. Saying that, there are teams that have good chances. Before Sunday at 1 o'clock, I like Montana. He's got the Bombers at every position like we've been talking about. With that injury to Forte, I think that brings him down a little bit. I don't know if he can survive 3 rounds of a playoff without Forte. I think he'll have 1 down week in there. So saying that, I think the favorite is going to be Josh from the Spielman Conference. He's pretty much already guaranteed to be in. The way I look at it, he's guaranteed to be in the finals. And at that point, he's got a 50-50 chance.
I like Tony a little bit. I think he's sort of a sleeper in this one, which we're going to get into next. He's got the bye. It's going to help him come off of injuries. I don't think he's the favorite. I just wanted to put him out there. I agree with you. I look at Montana. I think before last week, you had to call him the favorite. With what Gronkowski was doing, what Forte was doing, losing Forte is just a huge blow to a Pinnacle team at the exact wrong time. So coming out of the Sanders Conference, I think the favorite is Dale. I think he's got some stuff he's got to work on as far as his coaching, his lineups, making sure he gets the right guys in every week. But I think he's got a good shot to get to the Igloo Bowl. Having said all that, who's your long shot that has the best shot? You look at Cito, you look at Mitchell, you look at Tony. Who do you think out of that group has the best shot of winning the whole thing?
I just think Mitchell's got problems with some depth. He's got no bench. He can't survive another injury. He's barely surviving the injuries he has now. Cito's got some good matchups early. I don't know how long that's going to last. Of that group, I think the favorite out of that long shot group is probably Tony because having that first round bye is going to be a huge advantage. It gives him another week to get AP back in his lineup. He might have him this week, which would be a bonus for him. He doesn't need him this week, but at least he's back, get 1 game in, so he's back to being AP. I think that could carry him, and he could have the best shot of that group.
Well, and that's what makes the bye, I think you would agree, so important. Obviously in Pinnacle and fantasy, it's a little bit different. Your players don't get to rest, but if you've got an injury to your best player, you want that bye so you can survive to the next week without losing all those points that AP provides Tony. Montana would kill somebody right now to have that bye.
In Montana, I think his situation, he'd probably rather be playing Tony at this point. I think we wanted to talk about what team in the wild card round has the best chance to go all the way. I think that's going to have to be Dale's team because the winner of the Joe and Chris matchup have to come up against Josh. I don't see them advancing past that point. And Montana, like we had just talked about, without Forte, I don't think he has the best shot. I think of the wild card teams, I think Dale has the best shot to win the Igloo Bowl this year.
And, you know, once again, I think that I side with you on that one. I tend to agree. When you look at Dale's team, he's getting really good quarterback play out of both his quarterbacks, who both have really good matchups this week. And, you know, we'll get into the details of the games in our next segment, so we don't want to go too far into that right now. But on a general scale, I think what Dale has going for him is he's getting good play from everybody in his team. So he's got a good shot to beat Montana, with Montana being on the downside right now. And then Tony's got to get healthy.
Well, Montana did score 144 points last week without Forte. So now he can take Forte out. He can put in Daniel Thomas. He's not going to get Forte points, but Forte got him 1. So he still has the capability of putting up a lot of points. Did he use everything up last week? Is he going to have more this week?
You don't know. I mean, that's
what we're going to get into later in the show.
And you know, let's talk a little bit about that's what makes the playoffs so exciting. I mean, it's one and done. It's what everybody wants in college football. It's what you love about college basketball. It's one and done. It's win or go home. It's win or take all. It's you show up. If you're the better team that day, you move on. You might be the better team overall, but if you have a bad day, you're going home to cry to your mama. So I think that's what we love about the playoffs. So having said all that, we'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors, and we'll get to some games.